Everybody, welcome to Bad Relationship Advice with Damian and Monica. After a long hiatus, we're back.
Yes, we are.
And I'm telling Monica about how I met three different people this past week when I was kind of bar hopping with a friend, and each person immediately, instantly latched on and started sucking us for energy. Their egos they were like human egos, vampires going after us.
Energy vampires. So what was that like?
So it was funny because it actually started with a vampire. So my friend has like prominent canine teeth. So we're like sitting in the bar getting our drink, and this guy comes over and sits down and he's like, "Hey man, you're a vampire," to my friend. Like that's his introduction to us. That's how and it was like, what?
Little did you know he was like projecting.
Right, exactly. And like, so he just starts talking on and on. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I can't even like reproduce what he did, but he was just talking. Yeah. All right. Top 3 best movies. Go. 30 seconds. And I'm like, what? Like the whole the whole basis for his interaction was to get stuff out of us. Like he wasn't contributing. He didn't want to know anything about us. He didn't want to know like there was
he wanted to know your like favorite movies. So how bad is that?
But so he could argue.
Oh.
Everything he said was to start a conflict so that he could win it.
So what was the conflict? So did you tell him the top 3 favorite movies and then he argued that, or where was the conflict?
The conflict was, you're a vampire. Okay. What are your top 3 favorite movies? What? No, that's not a good movie. No, these are the top 3 best movies. Well, it's just like everything was in. And he goes, people tell me I'm intense all the time. And I'm like,
sounds
yes,
intense.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was just all about like, I don't know. It was for me, it was unpleasant. For my friend, it was like, he was like, well, I just kind of seeing where he was coming from, that kind of stuff. But this guy was just so demanding. There was no like he was not going to give you any space at all. He was going to be up in your face, yelling at you the entire time. Right. Mm-hmm. And the only time you have time to talk to is when he's taking a breath, but he's going to cut right back in. Anyway, so there's this guy. So then and then another element for this is that the people, you ask them a little bit about themselves you can just sit back and drink your beer because they're going to be talking for 15-20 minutes about themselves without any interruption. They're not going to even check to see if you're listening.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, my family's Sicilian.
Or if you care.
What now? Oh yeah, if you care at all, like not even checking. It's like the floodgates have been opened. So it's like, oh yeah, my family, my dad owns like 3 blocks of this town. We're like the kings of this town. So we own this, and my brother's like this, and it's just like telling us all this.
Did he say that? Is this a true story, Damian?
He told us he was the king of the corridor, king of this corridor, because my dad owns this and that. And I was like, okay, great. So this guy finds, we're clearly not giving him enough energy. or he's gotten enough for the moment. So he goes off to play pool and yell at somebody else. So then this chick comes in, and she's kind of drunk, and she's like, hey, yeah, do you guys want to, this is after briefly exchanging names, right? So maybe 30 seconds. Yeah, I'm so-and-so. Okay, I'm so-and-so, blah, blah. Hey guys, so you guys want to come over to my house and just like chill? We've got a really nice house and this nice subdivision, and it's a big house, and my husband's there. He's not out tonight. Look at this ring he got me. It's like, this ring is so beautiful. And it was just like telling us all this stuff.
Look what I have.
Yeah. We got this big house. We live in this nice neighborhood. I've got this husband. He's awesome. Look at this ring. And I was just like, where is your husband now? Because you're out drinking with some other dude who is sitting with you.
And
well, he didn't want to come out. He was working, but he said, as long as you come home and give me a kiss, like, we're good. And I'm like, sounds like a stellar relationship. And then she tells us where she's from, and she moved out here when she was 16, and she's actually a little bit on the spectrum. And but do you guys want to come to my house? Like, it's not like we're
What
gonna be
spectrum?
like autism.
Oh, she's out. Oh, okay. I didn't know
She
that. Okay.
tells us this. This is one of her things that she's gonna tell us. And then she's like, "Can you come to our house?" It's like, it'd be full. We could hang out. It's not like we'll be doing like mad drugs or anything. I mean, there are drugs if you want them, and it's just like, okay, here we go. I mean, like mushrooms. We could see some mushrooms. I'm just like, whoa, whoa. You're inviting us to your house to do drugs while your husband, like, who works from home, is sleeping, but he's a great guy, and you're autistic, but you need to, and she kept saying, I need some new friends. Like, then she's like, what's your number? Like, she got both of our numbers. And I was just like, it was just people just latching on, and not, they were like zero social skills, basically. Like, this is not a give and take. This is take. So then the next night,
Well, okay, but can we argue she was gonna give you some drugs and like some like invite you to your house? Like
right. I need friends, so I'll offer you drugs and a place to do them.
Lots of people would not say no to that.
Yeah, and my friend was like, shit, if I didn't have to take an early flight tomorrow, maybe we could head over there and see what it's, and I'm just like, this doesn't seem like a situation that I want to be any part of. Like, I don't even like this person. Like, there's nothing about her.
Well, it's interesting because then you actually would be the one taking from her in some ways, like if you just ended up if you ended up at her, no, like.
Have you ever demanded that somebody come over? Because it was pretty much a demand. Like, this was all for
her.
I'm
just thinking like of the drugs still. I guess I'm just hung up on that part, but yeah.
And I don't know what drugs she actually had, but the fact, if somebody mentions drugs within 5 minutes of meeting them, drugs are a significant part of their life. I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe she was on drugs.
Maybe she was. So
just like the top 3 movie guy sounds like he was on some upper, maybe, or maybe that's just how he rolls. I don't know, but
just and well, too, when the bartender is looking at you and rolling their eyes, or like, they've got this look on their face like, oh my God, like the bartender sees these people and knows. So I kind of use also her as a gauge for like, no, these people actually are, this is not a special incident. This is how they are.
Are these like regulars?
The vampire guy was. The other guy, the other chick was, I think, just like a one-off, but she was quite far from home to be out at this little dive bar in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, so then the next night was me and my friend, again, we're out walking in this little town, right? There's like a one street with bars and restaurants and stuff. So there's one bar we walk past, and I'm talking to him. I'm not talking to anybody else. And I'm like, yeah, I don't like this place very much. It's kind of pretentious. It's like, if you look at the clientele, it's like really pretentious people. Like, you have to be dressed a certain way, and it's like the hipster vibe. It's not chill at all. And I said, but I do like the music. And just kind of like 2 women were kind of standing off to the side, and she turns around and she goes, oh, you like the music here? And I was like, yeah, but I've never actually gone in because I don't really like the look of the place. I feel kind of intimidated by it. She goes, oh, really? Because my husband and I own this place and 2 other places in town. And I was like, oh,
I guess everyone owns everything.
Right. I was like, that's great. Yeah, I like the music. She goes, oh, great. Because she's like, cool. That's my playlist. So why don't you like this place? And I was like, well, I just think it's kind of pretentious. I mean, look,
because you're there.
We're in this little town. I wasn't, but we were walking past it.
I was talking about the chick. Like,
no, I don't know.
I don't even understand. Well, anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We're on the street walking in front of this place, right? Anyway, so she's like, you could tell she's visibly irritated that I don't like her establishment. And I'm like, well, I just, to me.
But what announce like right at the beginning, I owe this place. Like, how do you do that?
That's what I'm saying. People, instead of like
that's the first thing you tell someone. So I wonder, I guess she's telling everybody that passes that place,
right,
that she owns the place. And then she wonders why people don't want to go in. I mean, that would keep me from prevent me from going in right away.
Totally. So I was like, and I could tell that she was a little bit irritated that and it wasn't like I was trashing the place. I was just like, it's kind of pretentious, and the clientele, I just don't feel comfortable there, whatever. And she goes, well, it's not pretentious. It's for everybody. Look, anybody can go there. So what I found was that she was actually going on the defensive, kind of attacking me for having an opinion she disagreed with. Right. And
Yeah.
for not like, oh, wow, you own this place, like for not kissing her ass because, I want to know people who are important and who have, and so then her husband comes over and she turns to her husband. I never met this guy in my life. He doesn't like this place. He doesn't like our place. And she goes, the husband's like, well, I built this place with my own blood, sweat, and tears. Like I did all the construction, everything. And I was like, that's great. I mean, but I'm sorry. I just, I don't really like it. I wouldn't go in it. I've never been in it. I mean, Claude, Monica, the place is called Por, P-O-R, with that circumflex mark over the O.
I don't even know what that means in French.
Like international pronunciation, international phonetic alphabet for poor. P-O with a hat on it, R, and then slant marks.
But what is that supposed to mean? Like, is it supposed to mean like poor?
It's a wine bar.
Okay. I don't even know what that means though. Like,
pour your
maybe
wine.
It's supposed to mean something in another country. I mean, we have this circumflex in French, but that's not a word that. Anyway, I don't know. So what does it mean? Do you know?
Even the name, it's the word pour, like to pour a drink, written in international phonetic. Yes, written like in the international phonetic alphabet.
Pour like you don't have money.
Yes, well, I think that's a funny play on word. That would be a funny play on words.
Maybe they meant it that way.
Well, it's certainly didn't pick up on that. What an even more ironic thing, because the clientele is all pretentious and they've got their little fake gas fireplaces and things out front, and there's like a wall around the place, and but what struck me about this conversation was that I was talking to my friend. These people butted into our conversation to teach me a lesson that my opinion about their place was wrong. That was the whole thing. And it was like, wait a minute, I don't like your place, and now I don't like it even more. And unfortunately, I was drunk and I didn't have the wherewithal to say that actual thing, because I should have said that. I should have been like, well, after meeting you two, now I really don't like the place, because I can see what you guys are all about. You're all about what you own and who you are and who you know and your wealth and your status in this community. And we have a name for you people. It's called Organic Portals. And if you want to know more about them, check out this podcast. So anyway, so that's the story.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it sounds like a lot of people with a lot of things that they own, and
that's the first thing they tell you. Literally, the first thing they tell you when they meet you is basically how much they're worth, or what they possess, or what their status is. And it's like, yeah, well, thanks for letting me know that, because I am able to decide very quickly whether or not you're a person that I want to have anything to do with. Right? Like.
So did you go into that bar?
Hell no. But my friend was like, we should go there next time, man. And I was like, I mean, I'm down to go in there, but he's like, we should totally. Actually, you brought up a hilarious point, because we should dress up like absolute homeless and go there, because it's poor.
The poor bar. Yeah, I totally want to do that. We should totally do that.
Are the drinks free here? Oh, really? Because it's poor. So
poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be.
And be like, can I speak to the manager? I know him. We're friends. I know he put his blood, sweat, and tears into building this place. So Surely he can spare one glass of wine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but that is an interesting topic, the whole thing with energy vampires. I expected something a little bit different in terms of your stories, but I could see how all of those stories could amount to a pretty annoying evening. Although, yeah,
They
I think
need
anytime people start talking about what they have, what they own, their property, and so on, I'm not sure what is the point of that? It sounds like, are you trying to make yourself more important? Do you think you have more worth because like literally you have stuff that
Yeah, it's a
makes you
pissing
more?
contest. They're wanting to draw you into a one-upping competition. Like, okay, you know somebody who's really good at the one-upping, right?
Yes.
So what would their response been in that situation? Would they have engaged in that and kept like would they have been like, well, I've got my PhD in economics, and would they have jumped right in and done that? Or would they have been like, wow, that's so great, wow, that's so awesome, oh man, I love this place.
Yeah. And then thrown in what they have.
Right.
Totally. Like just kind of slip that in,
Yeah.
Oh, and by the
Right.
way,
Right.
and
Oh, that's
and
cool. Well, I'm only visiting here from my downtown house in LA, that kind of stuff.
yeah. Yeah, no, and again, it goes into that kind of that vicious cycle, I guess, of, for lack of a better word, of like when you're always trying to, like, one person says something, then one person tries to outdo the other, and then it just becomes, and then all of a sudden you wonder why you just kind of don't like that other person, or why you just didn't really have such a great time after all, and so on.
Right.
But these things happen all the time,
It
whether
was
it's,
nothing like nourishing for your soul. It was soul draining.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's why I felt like it was a energy vampire, ego sucking, soul sucking experience, because you have these egos that are desperately latching on, and they're pros at getting energy from other people, and it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So it's whether it's like you don't have good taste in films, or you don't have property,
Or bars,
or,
because clearly my taste in bars is total shit.
well, I guess we'll have to check that bar out.
Yeah, well, I just thought it was funny that
Looking
I made a
very cool.
point. I made a point of being like, well, we're gonna go to a real bar now.
Oh, look at you. Well, maybe you were kind of one upping
I
that.
totally was. And that's why I got so angry at myself, because I got sucked into it.
Yep.
But I
See?
was drunk, so.
Mm.
And I wasn't expecting it. Hit me out of nowhere. Came out of nowhere. Like, here's two friends having a private conversation, and somebody just, oh, energy,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have that many people like go up and like just talk to me the way you do. I mean, maybe just like,
It's
I mean, you should
America.
also appreciate the fact that people are just trying to be so super like, I don't know. Do I want to say
No,
friendly?
it's what you were saying this. You were saying when other people sense that you're in this state, they are attracted to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And like if me and a friend are
What
having
state
a
is
very
that, Damian?
well, I'm just saying, if we have like if you and I are calmly walking down the street having an engaging conversation with one another, maybe that energy is palpable, to somebody who has no actual knowledge or understanding of what a real human connection is.
Mm-hmm.
To witness that is like, it gets their attention, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's why
What's our
you're like
time? What's our time,
attracted.
Monica?
I think we're done. It's been like 15 minutes plus.
Okay. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. So, energy vampires.
Yes. Interesting topic. I definitely have a lot to say about that. Not necessarily in the bar hopping experience, but that could be another episode, because I think we're constantly getting our energy sucked from so many. It could be not only people, places, etc. And I think it's just something we have to think about in terms of the interactions we have with people, are they adding or are they taking away from our energy? And I think it's very important to keep that in mind and ask oneself that, and then maybe reevaluate the type of people that we're around.
Yeah. Like, how do you feel after talking to that person? Do you feel
Yeah.
like, do you feel a
Do you feel
little,
tired?
yeah. Or are
Maybe
you
should
worked up?
rethink how
Are
much you
you
want to spend
upset?
time with them. Yep. Yeah. Are you angry? Are you annoyed? Are you irritated? Because that's all your energy being taken away.
Yeah. Okay. Talk to you later, Monica.
All right, Damian. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.